convert it to Fahrenheit, and I'm like, well, geez, that's like a 10-degree difference between 2 degrees.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just so much different Fahrenheit. There's a lot more degrees
of course.
cut into
Celsius.
Celsius.
So is 0 Fahrenheit freezing?
No, 32 degrees is.
Well, obviously 0 is going to be freezing. But...
Well, it's going to be freezing, yeah.
Well,
but
did you know in Celsius 0 is freezing?
0 is the start of freezing in Celsius, yeah. And so 32 is our freezing, or is it 34?
No, yeah, 32
is 100
degrees,
boiling?
Yeah, 100. No, it's 100 degrees Celsius is boiling point, but it's like what
212.
212 Fahrenheit. So that's like your benchmarks right there.
So we have 32 to 212, and you have 0 to 100. Believe me, I think Celsius is much easier.
Right.
But we grew up with Fahrenheit. That's what we're used to. It's what our brain makes sense of. So translating it to Celsius has been I mean, we've been here long enough now that it's pretty easy. We can figure it out. But
it's like working out the dollars here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's 1,000 yen, I just drop off, as an Aussie, I just drop off the last 2 numbers, and it's $10 to me.
That's
pretty
the
much.
same for us too. Yeah.
Yeah, just the problem is the conversion rate now between USD and Japanese
It's
yen.
a little different now. When we got here, it was 100 yen to $1, so we just had to move the decimal point over.
Yeah.
But now it's like what
125 or something like that.
125 to 80 cents or something like that.
125 to the dollar.
Oh, that's
it's always to the dollar.
Yeah, and it's not good for you. Is that what you're saying? Like
it's one of those things where, like, the way that we get paid being over here is we have cost of living allowance, which scales based on what the Japanese yen is worth.
Interesting.
So when it's 1-to-1, we get paid more USD because we're being paid more to accommodate the cost of living out in town.
Yep.
But now that the yen is worth less than the dollar, we're getting paid less USD. So we have to make do with that. So when you shop on base, at, like the base commissary, where prices stay the same, you're losing money as opposed to transferring your money into yen and buying out here at the Japanese grocery stores.
That's interesting. Is it cheaper in the base?
It's
generally though.
It's one of those things where on base, it's tax free, but at the same time, there's some products which are marked up, but at the same, not to keep using it at the same time. Especially when it comes to electronics, clothing, thing like that, they'll price match Amazon. So sometimes you can get a better deal buying on base, but
that's only at the next.
Yeah, at the next. But there are plenty of times when you can easily go down to the grocery store here and buy something for cheaper, or even going up to, like, for some electronics. If you go up to Akihabara up in Tokyo, you can find computer parts for cheaper than you would find on Amazon.
What was that, a secret sign of, like, don't?
No, it's one of those things where you're not supposed to discuss.
Exactly, that's what I thought about this podcast show.
All right,
yeah,
we'll talk about it.
I'll wipe that out. Yeah, and I'll put in something even worse.
Yeah.
Sorry, but
yeah, well, that's true. You know, I'm gonna laugh because you're in. Oh,
you can't wander the base by yourself, but with us, I don't see why there's
a
problem.
I don't think I can even talk about what you do at base. No, let's not. It's your career. We've done this before.
Okay, so I brought it up.
No. Well, hey, it's conversation. But maybe I'll edit this whole bit out. But today, because I know what you do at base. Maybe I do. And I'm telling, in broken Japanese, I'm telling my family in Japan here, I went and dropped in at my American friends who live down the street, and Kyle does this at for the military down there, and right here's my Mac is open, and I went, maybe he's even watching now.
Oh, no, not at all.
Well, who knows, man? When the last time we spoke about what you were studying, well, think about it worldwide. If someone was to tell you, you're a superpower, for God's sake, and I'm an Australian.
America.
So,
yeah.
can I say cybersecurity?
Yeah.
That's
exactly
That's what he's going to school for.
That's what you do.
So that's totally okay
right.
to
So,
talk about.
And
so for a little pissant sort of country who, just got computers the other week, sort of thing, and now you're speaking to a guy who studies cybersecurity for the US.
Yeah.
Like, wow, what does he know? Honestly, like what,
I feel like I'm pretty literate when it comes to computers, but he has totally solved a lot of problems just within, like, everyday household internet stuff that I'm like, did you learn that in school?
Of course.
Did you learn that in school? Did you learn that in school? How did you know to do this?
And that's the thing, too, is, like, what I'm studying and what I do for the military are two different things. Like, if you knew what I did for the military, you'd be like, wow, dude, really? Like, that's it? Yeah. But when it comes to cybersecurity, it's like, you learn something new every day, and it's what you learn from materials, like from the certified ethical hacking and stuff like that, it's outdated material. It's up to you whether or not you want to learn the up-to-date stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, just as an example, for a game I'm playing right now, they just had a DNS issue, which is where, like, their domains and stuff like that, their IP addresses are conflicting. A bunch of players found a way to actually edit their computer's registries to get around the server's DNS issues. So that's kind of the spirit of it. Is you're finding ways, you're finding these holes and these loopholes and these back doors to get into these systems, and it's not always like malicious in nature, but that's it. It's like it's all about learning something new every day. And you can even ask her, like, I spent the entire day...
Way too much time.
The entire day, like, sitting here at the computer just clacking away on these keys.
Thank God you were on leave.
Yeah, it's addictive, isn't it?
Yeah, running, like, trace certs on the IP address and, like, doing all these things that...
Messed up the internet for my Apple TV.
Yeah, I killed the VPN for a little bit because I changed it from a San Francisco VPN to DC, and it messed up the password and everything. But
Paxton had no tunes.
Yeah, no cartoons. But that's the thing is, like, going through the class. One of the things I learned about is installing spyware on someone's computer and accessing their webcam to monitor them, like monitor their person to see what they're doing. And when I learned how to do that, like, my mind was blown. I'm like, whoa, let me tell everyone on Facebook what I just learned how to do.
Did you cover up all of our webcams?
Yeah, unplugged mine, being like, wow, the Russians are watching me.
Yeah, well, that's what I read recently. After I knew what you were studying, sort of thing, I read that all these cybersecurity guys met in somewhere in LA.
Yeah.
Okay, and they stayed in this. Let's pretend it was the Hilton, like a really good hotel in LA, for this conference about cybersecurity. And they all checked in, put their suitcases in their room, and there was a TV. And there was actually a computer in the room. It was such a good place to stay. Yeah. They were all Macs.
Fancy.
So they all freaked out and instantly covered over the the camera, because apparently it's the number one easy. Oh, this was the story. You would actually know. It's the number one easiest thing to actually get in and look through.
It seems the easiest thing
camera.
to hack.
Well, and well, it's been actually we call it a wives' tale. It's been a thing people have been saying for years on the Gold Coast, is that the police could, if they wanted to, just tap in and look in the lounge room of your camera.
They say that in the States, but I don't know that anybody actually ever believes it.
Well, let's ask Kyle.
Well, that's the thing, is there's always a capability, but it's your networks and your home networks are getting so sophisticated now that it's not something you can just break into, especially if you don't have probable cause or the necessity to do it. And a lot of what they're talking about, especially when it comes to that kind of thing, is, people using, or law enforcement agencies using, like, Facebook or other social networking sites as admissible evidence in court.
Totally.
And the United States Department of Justice actually released a handbook on that, about how law enforcement officers are encouraged to create fake Facebook accounts, monitor their suspects, see if they're posting, like, drugs or any other, like, illicit activities on their Facebook, and then use that against them. But that also violates the terms of service for the actual site. So you get into this huge, like, ethical debacle about the actual practice itself. But as far as the actual constant monitoring and things like that, where like the NSA monitoring your cell phone records and stuff, I'm obviously not an expert on the field or anything like that, but at the same time, it's a little bit unlikely to believe that one person specifically, unless you're committing some sort of terrorist activity or criminal activity, you're going to be singled out like that,
Yeah, but it could. But imagine if you were working in that field, and you had a girlfriend who just left you, or a wife you're suspicious on, or some sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's no stopping that guy who has the knowledge to just go home or to check on his old girlfriend.
Yeah.
And because they lived together for 1 month, and he knew there are all those sort of guys. So it's
Crazy.
A wild world, isn't it?
It is.
But look at me, I'm actually clueless to that entire thing. Even when you were talking about servers and whatnot, and I've been staring at this computer here for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I actually shut off that whole. I don't want to know about servers. In my own mind, it's like a hurdle to jump.
Yeah.
Like, oh, geez, that's right. And I know more about computers than most of the guys I work with, or anything like that. There's,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying. Like, it's another world. Once you get into that world, you're the guy that can fix everyone else's computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So there are all these guys like yourself who it's up to that actual individual how far they want to go and what sort of life they're living, whether they can, and what, we don't even know. That's the thing. And where, I don't even want to say the military, but you work for the military. The things that we as Australians, or what we think you guys are discovering every day with technology, I can't even imagine what that would be.
Yeah.
It must be...
Just the emerging technologies and stuff like that just blows my mind.
Every day there'd be something new to learn.
There are definitely new things every week. Like, I know we talked about it a couple nights ago, but Reddit, just monitoring Reddit and seeing the kinds of things that they're constantly posting about the emerging technologies and tech and medical and all that stuff. There's a bunch of crazy things that are coming out.
You follow I Fucking Love Science on Facebook. Tons of stuff on there, too.
Oh, yeah. Reddit is really good for the moment it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone there is just
whether you want to
know
about it or not.
Yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
This time last year, 8 weeks in Japan is when I discovered Reddit, and pretty much every single night I was just wow. Actually, just like games, we were talking about gaming last night. I had to stop Reddit. It's just too addictive. No matter whatever your mind can think of, there's a subreddit to get very involved in. And I just found myself going, wow, 4 hours every night.
There definitely is.
Yeah. So I just had to turn it off. Mm-hmm. I'm about ready to turn off Facebook again.
Oh, my gosh,
the reason I got into Reddit is because I stopped my Facebook.
Oh,
I just
really?
turned it off last year and went, little kids. If you're raising little kids, I kept going, stop hassling me. I'm checking my Facebook.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Really, what am I doing?
I realized that too.
But it's all on my phone.
My hardest thing with Facebook, getting rid of it, is because we are overseas, and a lot of my family, like my grandparents, finally have a Facebook.
Wow.
And I know they check it, and I know they have it to stay in touch with me and us and my son. And so that's one of the hardest things that I battle with, that I'm like, I should just get rid of this. And I'm like, my grandparents use it.
Yep.
And
I'm addicted.
it is easy to just post a photo and I know they get it, versus, having to write out emails to every single person and on a daily basis, when you can just, there's an app for it, there's this, it's just easy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is like, if you scroll through your news feed, do you really care about the pictures of that guy's car, or
80% of it, I would say
80% of the useless crap that you really just don't care about. But at the same time, how am I going to know that you want to have a beer tonight? because